Andrews with Goalpost Group, and we are so excited to be hosting this virtual happy hour for you. Today, we're going to talk about how to be a success story rather than a statistic. And we have some great guests with us today that Shareef is going to introduce us to in just a couple of moments. But before we get kicked off with that, I wanted to show you firsthand some of the things that are so excited that are getting launched just today. The first off, we have Beyond Bedside Manner, the book. All of those great things that you just saw, the scrolling through and seeing all those folks opening this book, they're excited because it's something special. It's 57 insights that are designed to help you start thinking about developing the PX mindset in your practice. And I want you to go to beyondbedsidemanner.com because, one, you can buy the book there. That would be great. But even more than that, we also have a few words from Shareef here, who you will be seeing in just a few minutes, as well as we have a nice new download for you for free, the 4 biggest mistakes doctors are making during COVID. We think that this is critical information that can help you change your practice and the way that you're approaching what you're doing during this really critical time in the life and times of your practice. We want every one of your practices to survive COVID financially and from a business sense, and we are here to help you do that. Number 2, we also have the launch of the PX movement. And the PX movement, more than anything, we want you to be part of it. We want you to join the movement. And if you click at pxmovement.com, you click on this Join the Movement button, you can join the movement and we'll automatically give you these 4 things. Number 1 is going to be the free download of Chapter 1 of Beyond Bedside Manner. You're going to have that free of charge to start with that little bit of kindling that you need to start thinking about that development of the PX mindset. Next, we're going to give you the patient experience survey tool that can allow you to start thinking about what your patients actually think about what you're providing for them as far as a patient experience is concerned. Next, we're going to give you Insights at Work weekly email that can continually, on a weekly basis, just give you a little bit of something that can help you continue your PX journey. And then finally, and this is pretty exciting, and this is just launching, is exclusive video content. In fact, Shareef has put together 12 weeks worth of videos that he will be taking you through many of the insights that you'll find in the book and just giving you a little bit of a different take on each one of those insights. So all that is waiting for you. Just go to pxmovement.com and hit Join the Movement. And now I'd like to turn it over to Shareef.
All right, thank you very much. I'm just really excited about this evening. This is a long time coming, and I've been touched by the comments from those who read an advanced copy of the book. In some ways, these 250 pages capture much of what I've been working on over the past 30 years. One of my clients recently said she loved reading it, and she said to me, I want more. Indeed, we need more than a book. We need a lot of people, an army, to become part of a movement. This is a moment in time where we can shatter the assumptions about what should take place when a patient goes to see the doctor. You think about it, healthcare is way beyond other industries in terms of customer experience. We know this because we're consumers every day. And this book is really about the why patient experience is so important and how doctors and their practices should be thinking about it. It recognizes, and this movement recognizes, that doctors and their teams know what to do when they're thinking about customer service in their practices. I truly believe that people know what to do, but what they need is a mindset. It's the right mindset so that patient experience and continuous improvement become part of the daily discussion every day in the practice. The PX movement and the website is a resource to help ignite that flame and inspire you to action. What you do is going to be unique to your practice. PX will look different for all specialties, locations, and teams. But there's one mission here that remains the same. Together, we will set the new standard for the medical community so all patients can have better experiences. Now, the hardest part is committing to change. And once you've made the decision to adopt the PX mindset, just choose one idea or one insight to implement. You don't need to get overwhelmed. My commitment on my side is the team I work with will provide plenty of raw material for you to consider. And as a result, you will revolutionize your practice. We're going to see an example of that tonight. But let's never forget, and let's always remember our big why, which is because patients deserve better. They just deserve better overall. And tonight we've got three of the best experts to help us unpack what I just described. Their insight into what's happening in practices is of great benefit to all of us watching. So let me introduce each one at a time. First is Jim Wachtman. Jim is an operations executive who's led several large organizations. He's focused on collaborating with physicians his entire career. The companies he's led include TLC Laser Centers and Vision Integrated Partners, which is a private equity-backed practice acquisition firm. You know, he's collectively responsible for the performance of thousands of employees and the physicians they work for. Next is Vance Thompson. Vance is a refractive surgeon, and he leads 5 practices in 5 states with several hundred employees under his guidance. His flagship location is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's widely regarded as one of the best eye care practices in the nation and has a reputation for outstanding patient experience throughout the ophthalmic industry. Vance is also co-owner of one of Napa Valley's favorite wineries, Jessup Cellars, which gives him an added perspective on how the patient can also be viewed as a customer. And last panelist is John DiJulius. John is one of the world's leading authorities on customer service. Now, when I first heard about John, I heard the story about he had a hair salon in Cleveland. He started with 1, he moved to 4. What was interesting about John Roberts Salon and Spa is that while the average haircut in Cleveland cost $20, he was able to charge $80. Clearly, John was doing something with his employees and with the customers in that spa, and he's now turned that into a whole customer service empire. He started the customer service revolution almost 15 years ago, and he's the author of 4 best-selling books, including The Relationship Economy, most recently. He's advised hundreds of companies and organizations on what they can do to transform their culture into one that is customer obsessed. So I welcome each of the 3 of you, and in addition, we have 2 special guests. On your screen, you see it's not a blank canvas anymore. That is Kevin DeLay's hand. And Kevin DeLay is also known as Dr. Draw on his YouTube channel. And he is going to be bringing his artistry, his skills to visually translate what is happening in real time during this session. Mm-hmm. We're going to check back with Kevin at the end when he's going to reveal what he's actually created. And I'm just excited for it. I've known Kevin for a long time. And what would a happy hour be without a mixologist? And let's bring him on the screen. Dean Edwards, one of my favorite mixologists. Where are you, Dean? I'm looking for you. You're going to come on the screen in a minute. But he's my neighbor. He's my friend. He's my tennis partner. And he will be making my PX Manhattan in a bit. And you have other folks in the room and outside that are part of this virtual happy hour as well. So with that, let's get into the questions, if we will. And I'm going to start with you, Jim. I think we're going to take Kevin and Dean off camera, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just going to be the 4 of us for a few minutes. So Jim, let me just ask you, I've known you for nearly 25 years, very successful in an operating role. And I don't know why I don't see you, Jim Wachtman. Did you
here?
Okay, you're here. Great. There you are. You're in the spotlight. Thank you. So Jim, why is customer service and this concept so hard for doctors?
Well, I think, from my experience in trying to work with docs over the years, historically, they really believe in the technology. They really believe that the technology drives the outcome. And if I just do my job and provide a great surgical outcome for a patient or talk to them and educate them, then that's going to be enough. And we discovered I've worked with just some fantastic and smartest guys ever around over the years. and yet the patients kind of walked out unfulfilled because they really didn't get an experience that went with the level of education and discussion they had with their doctor. And the doctor fully didn't appreciate what happens before, what happens after, what happens during. And it really kind of converted our mindset at several companies as to really making service a process more than just about people. And in the early days of LASIK, as you'll know, you'd walk in and one guy would be killing it, doing great procedures and doing big numbers. And then you go back the next month and say, what happened? Your numbers, cut in half and you're real disappointed. And well, so-and-so left, left the practice and she or he was the key to everything. And it really taught us to say, well, if you start relying just on the people versus the people with a process, then you're eventually going to fail, and you're putting too much dependence on that one person. And it was key in the early refractive days why praxis went up and down. And then you see people like Vance that instill a process and a mindset so that the people become a little bit more interchangeable. They're all important, but the process is just as important as what you put them into.
No question, no question. You were in this very unique position in the early, the first decade or so of LASIK being approved in this country, because you were right in between the manufacturers who made the lasers and the doctors who used the lasers with their teams. You were a service provider, providing that service mobily and in fixed sites, first with LVCI and TLC. So you work closely with manufacturers, and whether it's in ophthalmology and the refractive manufacturers or in any medical specialty, why hasn't new technology, whether it's in the form of a laser, a device, a procedure, an implant, why hasn't new technology by itself grown the market and gotten more consumers just to willingly pay for elective procedures?
Well, I think we still fail to remember we're selling life change. We're selling experiences. We're selling a different looking day the next day. And I still see surgeons get caught up in it, explaining a multifocal down to the nth degree, and the patient walk out more confused than ever. And so when you're selling the technology without the result and the outcome and the experience, then the patient tends to get hung up in that quagmire, and a lot of them don't get out.
And so just take us with you when you walk into a practice sometimes. What are some of the telltale signs you go, uh-oh?
Well, from my perspective, if you walk into a practice and you still have what I would call the Medicare setting, where they're used to the Medicare patient coming in, it's not really set up and doesn't provide any energy, and it's sort of the traditional, the 1988 Sports Illustrated still sitting on the desk, and people laugh at that sort of thing, but it's still going on. And those practices are totally dependent upon the surgeon's ability that particular day, and their mood and their mindset, and versus the people and the process that have been designed in there. And you can tell right away if the people aren't smiling, if they're not happy, if the staff's not got some energy to them, then it tends to reflect back to the patient. And energy levels and drive and smiles and culture make a difference, and get people excited about spending discretionary dollars. And it's night and day if you go into Vance Thompson Vision and see that, because what John and Matt and Vance have done is they've instilled a culture, and from the person who greets you all the way through the lane, all the way into surgery, they're all the same. They're smiling, they're happy, and you feel good about the experience. And you can't underestimate that. And I think sometimes surgeons believe that their skills are so great and they're going to make this patient happy, which ultimately they will. But the before and after aren't given near the level of attention and focus as it could be to really enhance that surgeon's skills even more.
Well, you mentioned Vance Thompson's practice, and that's one where I know at least Vance, about 40% of his cataract patients are electing to pay more to have a refractive procedure, and regardless, they're all getting a great experience. Can you just, for everyone here, maybe not everyone's been up to Vance Thompson Vision, just describe in a few adjectives what it's like when you walk in there? What's the feeling you get?
Well, first of all, you're not walking into an enclosed lobby with bad lighting, and it's open, it's airy. I go there for the cookies in the lobby. They're really good too, but it's really just the environment. You walk in, and it's amazing that people don't understand how an environment can affect your psyche. Walking in and walking into an open area environment where people are smiling at you, people are ready to greet you. It really reflects on the surgeon, because that person who first says hello and says something personal to you starts an experience and starts you in a mindset that says, this is going to be a great experience. So I'm going to be more receptive to what the optometrist says to me, and I'm going to be more receptive to what the surgeon says to me. And it starts right when you open that door.
Right, that's exactly right. And so, since you said when the doctor says hello, Vance, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Well, great. Well, Vance, let's turn to you. What led you to recognize that serving patients and serving customers are one and the same?
It really was through, getting to know, you and your influence on our practice, and then getting to know John DiJulius and Jim Gilmore, and kind of, reading the books and just feeling like I was missing something in the practice of medicine, where I had worked so hard on the medical and the surgical part, and something as intimate and a patient so vulnerable and trusting, that why were we not taking this experience to the level it deserved? But it took study, and it took a lot of work. But it ended up being the most rewarding part of my career, because the first 5 years were a little frustrating, feeling like something was missing.
Well, and let's be clear, because I don't know that everyone knows this, so I'm going to tell them. How many clinical studies has Vance Thompson Vision performed to date for the FDA?
Well, we're over 200, in the world of refractive and cataract and glaucoma and cornea and pharma. So you worked hard on the technology end.
Well, that's it. You're very involved in research, clinical research. And when I first met you now, which is going back, this is just around 1998, 99. I remember with the Astros in Seattle. I remember meeting you, and your reputation was for someone who said he's always going to invest in the best technology, right? That was like Vance Thompson Vision 1.0. You were willing to invest in the technology, and you wanted to be part of the studies. But then you made a shift. You made this shift into experience. And what I see is that you recognize that technology and all the clinical research wasn't going to carry the day in terms of giving the patients what they really wanted. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right. And rather than so much of a shift, I'd like to call it an addition, because the technology commitment, was there. But the old mantra, patients want to know how much you care before how much you know. And so this addition of the patient experience, the more I learned, the more I realized this is a lot relatively old-fashioned. And we like to say we're old-fashioned about people, where smile and eye contact and caring for each other really seemed to mean more in days past before this digital age. And how could we really wake that up to be old-fashioned people-wise and cutting-edge technology-wise? And it worked really well.
So from your perspective, and you talk with colleagues from around the country and around the world every day of the week. You're taking phone calls and doing Zoom calls like this. And they're asking you clinical questions, but I think they're also increasingly asking you customer questions. And how do I do what you are doing, Vance? What's your advice to them? How does a doctor, what does it take for a doctor to achieve success when it comes to patient experience?
Well, I truly believe it's a missing link between, your current state practice or business and what you're capable of. And so, we're so used to studying the medicine books and the surgery books, it really helps to study the experiential books. That's why people like John DiJulius and you are worth their weight in gold when they're willing to put this stuff in a book of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, hard work, for us to be able to use as a manual. And there's a lot missing in medicine today as far as the joy of the practice of medicine and the joy of doing business. And I have to tell you, when you start working hard on the experience side of your business, and I say you got to have a great team experience before you're ever going to have a great patient experience. Mm-hmm. So to have that workplace joy happening makes it so much fun to get up and go to work. And you know how it is. You got to enjoy something to truly be an expert at it. And so when you focus on this people part, it makes it just a blast all the way around.
Well, and you've not only done it in Sioux Falls, but you're part of an ownership group and you're actively involved in managing Jessup Cellars and Handwritten. And, Jessup Cellars won Best Tasting Room Experience, I think at least 1 or 2 years in a row. And, my understanding, 4 years in a row. Wow.
Yep.
4 years in a row.
Yep.
And that's in an environment where at last count, I think there were over 900 wineries in the Napa Valley, all serving fermented grape juice, red or white.
Right.
So what did you do there? What'd you do there, and how does it relate? How do you relate your winemaking to your eye surgical practice?
Well, it was complicated. I took the slides that said on the patient experience and crossed out patient and put customer, and I crossed out eyes and put wine. So it wasn't complicated, but it took a lot of of the same work. John DiJulius's book, and he spoke to our team. Shareef, you lectured to our team in the Napa Valley, and Jim Gilmore, and all these people, and investment of time, money, and energy on the people part. It was amazing because the same thing, even about a wine experience. Usually, if you've had a great culinary experience, you can pinpoint a waiter or someone who touched you also in the process, because in the end, it's really about people and how I make you feel and how you make me feel. And so, I did the same thing with the wine team as the eye team, and I brought Tigger and I brought Pooh, and, I worked on creating a caring environment, and the team loved it, and it worked. And so, working hard on the people part and combining, since I'm from South Dakota, I call combining South Dakota hospitality with Napa Valley wine. It was amazing, the response and the people that wanted to join our wine club or our wine family as a result of how they were treated.
Well, it's an amazing story, and I encourage anyone who goes to Napa Valley to stop by Jessup Cellars in Yountville, because they'll see what Vance is talking about. John DiJulius, Vance a few minutes ago talked about how the digital era has done so much to kind of move us away from that traditional bedside manner, if you will, or just the kindness we had. And I remember you telling me years ago, or hearing one of your lectures where you said, 85%, or since the last 40 years, 85% of human interaction has gone away. It's been automated. I think in response, you started a customer service revolution years ago. What led you in that direction?
Well, first, congratulations, Shareef. This is an awesome event, awesome book, and timely. Could not be timelier. So really excited for you, and proud of all that you've done. Starting my first business almost 30 years ago, hair salons. You could throw if you had a lousy arm, you could throw a rock in any direction and hit 10 every way. And we couldn't outspend, outmarket, out-advertise, outbill any of our competitors, but we could outlove them. And that may sound silly, but when you really take it and you build an emotion. And we didn't want to be the best experience that you can come in with a hair salon, because like most businesses, let's say Vance Thompson Vision is the best in their industry, okay, or John Roberts Spa was the best in their industry. Well, that's really irrelevant, because I don't get my eyes done at Vance Thompson Vision and then go to his nearest competitor and get an experience there and say, oh my God, right? And same thing, if you come into John Roberts Spa, you then don't need, you don't go across the street to my nearest competitor. You don't need a salon for a few weeks or a few months. We wanted to be the best experience in the guest day. So when you left us to go to the dentist, to go to meet your girlfriend for lunch, to go shopping, we wanted to have what I call the Disney hangover. We've all gone to Disney, and then for the next 48 hours when we come home, everything's a disappointment to us because nothing ranks like Disney. Well, we wanted, the John Roberts hangover. So that was the one thing that, when we didn't have deep pockets, we felt we could really, compete well on. And 30 years later, now we have deeper pockets. We still only invest in the experience because that's the best return on investment.
Well, you are a world-class expert, and I've looked up to you for years. And, I've noticed you worked with companies and organizations across a multitude of industries, including healthcare, from practices like Vance Thompson Vision to major hospitals. What do all these places, regardless of industry, have in common when it comes to serving the customer?
It's about creating an emotional connection. And I think, Jim started with it good. There's a myth that results or outcomes dictate customer loyalty. And it's scientific proof that results and outcome have the least to do with customer loyalty. So meaning if we go to Ruth Chris Steak and all they do is cook my steak, prepare my steak medium rare, okay, like I ordered, that's not going to make me loyal. If I go to a dentist and he gets my tooth to stop hurting, I expect any quality dentist to do that. Accountant, my accountant who saved me $25,000 last year on some tax loophole, while I appreciate that, I'm pretty sure any intelligent accountant would have known that same tax loophole. But it's the micro experiences, the greeting, the director of first impression, the compassion and empathy, not in the medical industry, not having empathy fatigue. That's easy to happen, is have empathy fatigue that you're dealing with, and making a brilliant comeback when we drop the ball. Those micro experiences are what really drive customer loyalty in any industry.
Well, healthcare has a lot of catching up to do. We know that. So what do you see as the opportunity? What do you see as the imperative for the healthcare community in general, for medical practice specifically?
I think where you're starting, it's the mindset and culture. I was, socially with a bunch of couples pre-COVID, and I remember a high up person from the Cleveland Clinic, nationally known. We were talking about customer service, and she said that she doesn't have customers. And really where I thought she was going was that she must only take care of the internal employee. And I thought that's what she was going to get. And I was going to try to convince her that employees are customers too. But she says, no, we don't have customers. We have patients. And I could not believe she could not see the distinction between the two, where you have someone like Vance that's taken the patient experience into the wine experience. This person can't get it inside her business. So I think it's the mindset. I think, the healthcare has been ahead of the curve in technology, right? And now everyone else is getting caught up to it. But, 15, 20 years ago, innovation would give you a 12 to 18 month advantage over your competitor. Well, today, most innovation is technology, and technology is the easiest thing to replicate, right? If I'm in, Vance's industry and he comes out with something, new technology, I can go out and buy that same technology right away, and I could catch up if that's all you have. If I show you Uber and Lyft's app in black and white, you can't tell the difference. I mean, everyone replicates each other, but the human relationship, the emotional connection is really where it's at.
So if we're successful, and I believe we're going to be successful with the PX movement, the way you've been successful with the customer service revolution, who wins? Who wins when we're successful with the PX movement?
Everyone. I mean, you know, it starts, and I think Jim and Vance talked about, it has to start with the team, right? Your patients will never be any happier than the staff. And it has to start with the staff. There has to be a sense of energy and buzz and smiling and beating the greets and all those things. And then, you know, then it becomes the patients, but then the patients go home and the staff go home because they're more fulfilled. And they want to take care of people. They want to let the person in line in traffic. They want to compliment the person in the stranger in the elevator and say, you know, that's a really cool tie or nice shoes. And they go home and they're nicer to their kids. So it is such a ripple effect. Employees go home happier, right? They didn't get beat up as much today by customers because they didn't have to hide behind policy, but they also were able to make people's day. And anytime we've ever been able to make someone's day, it's the day maker that feels the best at the end of the day, more so than the person we made the day for.
That's the day maker. Now you're just taking me back to being in one of your Secret Service workshops, the day maker. So let me open up to the three of you. You know, what'd you think about the book? This thing sitting behind me here. What'd you think about the book?
I loved it, Shareef. I mean, it was all your brilliance. It was all your research. I mean, you've consumed so much expertise in and outside of the medical industry. You've been a junkie, and you just consume. You know, I'm going to call you the Joey Chestnuts. Joey's Chestnuts is world famous for eating the hot dogs every 4th of July contest. But that's you. You eat, sleep, and drink this. And you know, I have always encouraged you that you got to get this book out because there's only so many people that you personally can touch. But now this book, you know, is just a simple but powerful playbook for people to follow and build that you know, experience one bite at a time.
So Jim Wachtman, who should read this book?
Well, as I was going through it, I had several surgeons in mind because I just think so many surgeons are just incredibly gifted and so bright, but they really get into this area where I'm going to take care of my patient, and taking care of the patient is a narrow definition, right? And we talked this while about taking care of the patient means creating a very, very positive experience, and so when I was going through it and talking about and looking at some of the key points, all of the points are just great reminders. I mean, if you really go chapter to chapter, there's simple reminders about, oh yeah, gosh, that seems pretty basic, but is it going on in practice? Is it really happening? And so it certainly reminded me of going back and looking at, for example, you go to some of these markets right now, and to John's point, you go to some of these markets right now, we've got a lot of per diem nurses and staff that are staying home with their kids by virtue of their kids having to stay home. And so the market has gotten really tight for labor. And we found in some practices that they're skipping out for $1 or $2 an hour because their practices are rating other practices, and they're saying, well, we've got to get another technician, go offer them $2 more an hour. And frankly, I've seen some practices fall prey to that and start bidding up the market. Well, there's something else fundamentally going on there. The employee is only there for the dollars. They're not there for the experience. They don't feel like they're part of anything, and therefore they're easy to get, and they're going to be transient, and they want to feel valued, and I think sometimes the surgeon can miss that in their effort to, quote, take care of the patient. You got to take care of your staff and your team. And your patient will come along for the ride too.
Vance, you know, Vance, I view myself as a guide. I'm there to help you guys and gals at Vance Thompson Vision and other practices just knock it out of the park and do a great job so your patients love you and want to have all their friends come to see you. Can this book serve the purpose, if I define the purpose of igniting and inspiring people, can this book do that?
Oh, it definitely can do that. And, you know, everybody is trying to figure out how to start. It's one of the reasons I not only loved the 6 P's that you kind of separated the book into, but, you know, this formula, you know, for how to get started, how to overcome the resistance. We talk about medicine, but every business owner should have this, including their families, because this leads to healthier, happier families. This is a great book on how to treat people. But that formula that Kathy gave you of dissatisfaction and times vision and times first steps overcomes the resistance. And in the practice of medicine, since that's what I do, even though I feel every business can benefit from books like this, in the practice of medicine, we can hire nice people, but there's complexities in our processes, and you can have someone come through your business of nice people and leave feeling like they weren't treated nice. And so having retreats and going over the same things that you teach people about your business, to actually have a manual that just breaks things down so beautifully so you can have your own breakout sessions and gradually work through a book like this and how it takes you to the next level and just builds an energy in a practice. And I feel like I work for millennials, to tell you the truth, because, you know, this idea of, you know, people really caring about our world being a better place. If you don't impress the millennials, you're going to have a hard time impressing people. I built my practice thinking about moms. You know, if you can't impress moms, if you do impress moms, you're, impressing a very influential group. Same with millennials. Well, millennials love it when they feel purpose. And when you show them a book like this and you close your business to do these retreats, what it ignites for energy and workplace joy is absolutely amazing. But it's complicated without a book like this. And it just gets you there so much quicker.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to turn the tables and allow you guys to ask me a question. You got any questions for me?
Why'd you do it? Why did you? I mean, this is a ton of work. And, when I look, you and I have both been disciples of John DiJulius and Jim Gilmore and read their books and will read everything they ever write. I would love to know why you did it, because I have my own reasons why it fits among the greats, but I'd love to hear your reasons.
Well, I'll tell you, I had probably in the early mid-2000s, after I've been writing the monthly column for Cataract and Refractive Surgery Today, every month, 1,200 words, I had a few doctors say to me that, hey, you should write a book one day. It wasn't too long after that, probably 2007 or 8, after I got to know John DiJulius, that he said, you must write a book. And, I tried a few times, it didn't work, but it was really about 3.5, 4 years ago that finally some time freed up. And I said, I need to do this. I've got a lot in my head. I want to get it onto paper, and I want to put it in a way that it's digestible, because if I'm one-on-one with a client or talking to someone and say, hey, have you thought about this? They go, oh, that's an idea. I hadn't thought of that. Well, I said, what if I could kind of collect those best ideas and put them into one place? And that was really, I guess what got me started. But my why really came down to kind of tapping into what I think is my purpose professionally. My dad's a pediatrician, private practice for 50 years. I didn't want to go into medicine as a doctor, but I've loved working with doctors all my career. And as one who puts a high premium, like John DiJulius said, I'm kind of obsessed with customer service. I just saw an opportunity between my obsession and what I was experiencing professionally. And Jim Wachtman talked about that earlier. When you walk in, you go, wait a minute, why would anyone spend money here? This isn't a really great, welcoming environment, warm and friendly. And I thought, if I can take my passion and put it in a way that can help others, that's worth doing. So yes, as my family will tell you, a lot of hours were spent at a computer and editing and getting a team together, but I believe it's worthwhile. And I feel if we can help make it better, because I think patients deserve better, it will have been well worth the time and the energy over the years to do it.
Bravo.
Shareef, I would ask you, from all your experiences with, I think the average age of an ophthalmologist is now 58 or something, the group is aging out. Is this generation, present company excluded, Vance is my age. Is this group aging out, and are they, I won't nicely, are they a lost cause, and do you have to go back a generation to the next round of surgeons and say, let's start with you guys?
No, I don't believe so. I think, because I've seen it happen, I think sometimes there's a trigger event that causes it, but the mindset can be at any age. Really, it's just helping a doctor understand that they, as consumers, they have needs, they have desires, and that their patients are no different. And those desires are outside the clinical outcome that everyone's talked about tonight. The clinical outcome is important, but it's often assumed that in LASIK, we're going to give a patient 20/20 vision, right? That a facial injectable is going to have the desired effect for the person that wants to have fewer wrinkles. That smile is going to work from the cosmetic dentist. That's assumed, right? That's the price of entry. What patients want is more, and I don't think it's anything more than what doctors want when they go to a place, a nice restaurant, a hotel, a resort, a vacation. They want to be treated well as being well treated. So no, I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's just a mindset thing. And Vance is the one that first said to me, mindset surgery is what was needed, right, Vance?
Well, that's because we have such traditions in medicine that it's sometimes just hard to change this, way we do things. And I'm going to take a risk here, but I say that the patient comes second. And I mean that with all due sincerity, because I took an oath that I'm going to do the right thing for that patient. We are going to take care of their problem. But culturally, the team comes first. And if you can make your team, and I love it, John, how you use the L word, because so many people in corporate America are afraid to use the word love. And John, and Coach John Wooden said of the UCLA Bruins, the winningest coach in NCAA history, you need to love your team to get the best out of them. Well, that's difficult in medicine. And it's so difficult. That's why I say it's a surgical experience to change the mindset. But when you do, it takes a lot of the dissatisfaction happening in the practice of medicine and reverses it right on its head and makes it more fun at work. And you happen to take it home and you start setting up your dinners for your family and dinners for people coming and thinking about these experiential things that you start noticing out in society that you assimilate into your own life. And it's a mindset change. And that's why I call it mindset surgery.
Well, no question. I'm going to tell you something that's changed my mind, blown my mind, and we're going to now go over to Kevin Dilly. Kevin has been drawing. I've been kind of seeing it in the small screen, but we're going to make him the big screen, and I'm going to be going to the next room where a drink is going to be waiting for me. So see you guys in a bit.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
When he started, I was like, he's never going to finish, but my God.
In colors too? Wow.
Well, as long as you keep talking, I'll keep drawing.
Yeah.
I only finish when you finish.
You're very talented.
That is
Thank you.
absolutely amazing.
So I guess our host went off and drank and didn't tell us about it. Okay, see you later.
Unmute that. Okay. Great. Are we on? We should be on camera now. Dean, thank you so much.
You're welcome,
The
Shareef.
PX Manhattan. That's good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And, I'm going to turn it back to Vance and to John. I think they wanted to say a few words, and I'm going to have a sip while you guys are talking.
Well, Shareef, is it okay if I propose a toast?
You do. And I'm going to invite friends to come in. We We got just allow us to get some champagne going here. We got friends in the audience. Give me a quick minute to do one thing.
I think what you said is wait on your toast, Vance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this, John, you talked about the Disney hangover, and this is what blows me away about the experience, because once you, and this is my informed consent to people who choose to go on this journey, is you will never have it mastered. And I've taken a page of notes just listening to you and Jim. and you find that you almost become a junkie for the experience, and you just want to add and add and add. And so when you see things like what Kevin is doing now, and you sit there and think, how can I incorporate that into my educating doctors and educating patients? Because this is innovative, what is happening right now in this short period of time.
Awesome. Vance. Hey, John, Vance froze for a second.
Oh, I froze?
Actually, you're unstable.
Oh.
Yeah,
You're good. They're saying that I'm the unstable one, not you. Which is terrific. John, you got anything to add before we raise our glasses?
Yeah, I don't know if that was Vance's official toast. I think he was he was just killing time there.
I don't think so, because we haven't raised glasses yet.
Okay. Vance, go ahead. I'll follow you.
Okay, well, you know, I've spent my whole life, not just my career, trying to please others. And, you know, it's to have a textbook like this, Shareef, to serve as a way to help me and those that, you know, I have the honor of working with to touch others is just amazing. But I have to tell you, I've watched you touch other companies and people and just diligently study, and now take all these years and not only put into a book form, but as I even watch you this evening, your boyish enthusiasm, you've never lost that energy. And I know it's because you care about making this world a better place. And I propose a toast to you for making my life better and how you make this world a better place.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you, Vance. I love you, Vance.
Love you.
And Shareef, the only thing I want to add is you're a visionary. You've been ahead of your time. It's so good that you now have stamped a legacy on it for so many people. Your insights and your passion transcends all industries, and I'm really proud to know you professionally and more so personally. I've seen you, met your family, and seen you in a lot of personal scenarios, and you're as good of a person, if not better personally, as you are professionally. So thank you for those gifts.
Hey,
Here.
John DiJulius, here's to you. Thank you. Thank you.
And Shareef, I'll add one.
Oh, go. Yeah, Jim. I'm not Jim. You, please.
One little
Thank you.
tidbit. I met you in 1996 out at Vizix, and there was a little company down below Vizix Vizix had one floor and a few people on it, and down below was a guy sleeping under ping pong tables that went on to become Yahoo. And it was and you were, I thought at the time, who is this guy? He is over the top. And you were so far ahead of your time as far as thinking about the patient experience and how do you answer. Back then it was, how do you answer your phone? And do you have the right person at the front desk? Well, flash forward, we're not changed too much. So we still need you, and we still need your passion in this industry, because our surgeons are better than ever and equipped with the best technology, but we need to connect it just like we did back then when the Vizix Star platform came out. So I got a feeling you'll be gainfully employed as long as you want to.
Thanks, Jim. It's been a pleasure to know you as well. Want to close tonight by just offering thanks to everyone who joined, each of the panelists as part of the discussion. Kevin Dilley for doing an incredible visual translation of this event. Way to go, Kevin. Thank you. It's really special. My mixologist dean. I want to thank Joe Pine and Jim Gilmore for writing the foreword to the book. I've been a student of the experience economy for years, and I'm grateful that they accepted that. I want to thank Kathy McDonald, who 4 years ago encouraged me to just write the damn book already and coached me along the way. Steve Wilmarth, Vance Thompson, and my daughter Kennedy. Thanks to the three of you. You read the early drafts of the book, and you helped improve it a lot. Everyone who's on tonight who read one of the advanced copies and posted reviews, right on. Thank you. 55 reviews on Amazon so far, and only one is at 5-star. I know who you are. Look, my book coach, Jeremy Brown, my editor, Alyssa Shirgi, publisher, Amy Geeling. Awesome. I could not have done this by myself. I needed a team. The Goalpost group who put this on tonight, Dave, Kara, and the team. Thank you for helping me see the big picture. And lastly, to my wife, Renee. Where are you, honey? Come here. Renee's been by my side for 30 years. She is my rock. I love you. And thank you. What a great ride this has been. And we're just getting started. So with that, thanks everybody for being part of this event, for being part of the PX movement. Let's do this.
Cheers.
Good night.
Take care.
Wow.
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 Wow.